beautiful people, and welcome to another video. So you might have noticed that this video is called very late January favourites. That's because that's what it is. Basically, I shot this video back in January and I just never got around to editing it and uploading it, but I've since looked back at it and there are some good things in here, so I thought I should upload it. But that is why I make no mention of the coronavirus and I complain so much about January. Who knew I would miss January? Simpler times. Anyway, I hope you're all keeping safe and well, and I will pass you over to the video. Bye guys. Hello gorgeous people, and welcome to another video. If you are new around here, my name is Lauren. Welcome to my channel, make yourself comfortable. So before we get into the video, two things. First of all, I have to apologise for my mad fringe because I've been waiting to get it cut so long now. I've basically grown it out, but I will be getting that sorted soon. Also, my hands, I have OCD and it's also been really cold at the moment, so I've got quite sore turkey looking hands. I wanted to point that out before you see them in the close-ups and think, ugh, because they are scaly and dry and red and gross at the moment. Anyway, today's video is my January favourites. I am so glad to see the back of January. Oh, it's so the Monday of the year. It's the worst month. It lasts for 27 years. It just never ends. So I'm really glad we're into February now because January was long. But it's over now. Don't have to do it for another year. Anyway, January favourites. 2020. So in terms of beauty favourites, I have 5 this month, which actually sounds like quite a lot now that I think about it. The first one I want to talk about is the Elemental Herbology Moisture Replenish Cell Plumping Facial Moisturiser. Now I've been using this, I would say, pretty much consistently for the past 6 to 8 weeks, I think, and it is lovely. Basically, it uses an ultra moisturizing complex, which sounds like PR bollocks, to plump, hydrate and nourish dry skin, and it does that. It does exactly what it promises to. It's got a really beautiful sort of melting thick texture that does not feel claggy or like almost like a body butter. Some do, this doesn't. It's just really beautiful. It's got a really thick texture, but it manages to be really light as well. It's very quenching. It's made my skin look lovely and I'm a very big fan. It also smells beautiful. It's kind of got like a citrusy kind of vibe. It's lovely. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the Cosrx, I have no idea how to say this brand name, Cosrx Acne Pimple Master Patches. Now, if any of you watched my Vlogmas, if not, go back and watch them. I worked really hard on them. I got a really bad spot under this mole here, and I'm really pleased that it has completely healed and gone back to normal because it drove me insane. It was basically a subcutaneous spot, which means it didn't break the surface, and I just kept squeezing it and it got really big. And then it just wouldn't pop, and then it did eventually, but it took weeks. I'd say like 2 weeks to go. Anyway, I bought these in response to that. Really wanted to get rid of that spot, then never used them on it. However, I have used them on spots since, and they are very good. It's described as an ADF hydrocolloid dressing. However, what it actually is it's kind of like a cold sore patch for spots, and you put it on. It's like a plastic little circle. You stick it on, and it's impregnated with ingredients. I'm not 100% sure which ones, but it basically pulls all the shit out of the spot and leaves it ready to pop. So I had a spot here and put this on overnight, woke up the next day and it was like ready to go. I really like these. I did also buy the Clearfit Master Patches from the same brand, which allegedly you're supposed to be able to use during the day and cover up with makeup. Tried it, you can't. It looks like you have a sticker on your face. I think these are better. These are really good, so I rate these highly. These not so much. I think these would work overnight as well, but you can't wear them during the day. They don't do what they say they're gonna do. I cannot stress how much I love this next favourite. This is the Jane Iredale Lip Drink Lip Balm. Now, if you've been around here for a while, you will know that maybe since September or even August, I have been struggling with really dry lips. Now, that is partly because I get eczema sometimes, partly because I've got a very strong liquid lipstick habit, which dries the shit out of them anyway. Also, partly because I use lip coat, which does the same thing. And also, I'm not great at hydrating. Like, I'm just not. So for all those reasons, basically my lips have been a state like you could peel patches of dead skin off them. Not that you wanted to know that, and I probably shouldn't have told you. Anyway, I was getting really desperate and I got this just before Christmas, and I thought I'd give it a go a couple of weeks ago, and I swear to any and all gods that it fixed my lips in less than a day. It is amazing. It's just it looks like a normal lip balm, but it's amazing. It's got sun protection in it, I think, as well, and it's so hydrating. It's kind of like a cream, like a really solid cream you're putting on your lips. So I have to put this on first thing in the morning before I do any of my makeup. Otherwise you can't put lipstick on top of it. But once it sinks in, it literally hydrates your lips all day. It is phenomenal. Would recommend this to anyone. I'm completely obsessed with it. It also smells lovely. So yeah, check this out if you're struggling with dry lips, because it works wonders. Guys, do you ever get the feeling like you're coming across as really hyper and a little bit mental? Because that is what I feel like right now. I feel like I'm coming across as just a little bit manic. Anyway, while we are on the subject of lips, my next favourite is a lipstick, and it is the Bury Me in Lipsticks lipstick from the Sophia Nygaard and Colourpop collaboration. Now, if you don't know who Sophia Nygaard is, she is a YouTuber and she is my favourite YouTuber. I'm absolutely obsessed with her. And if you've watched any of her videos, chances are you've probably seen the melting all the lipsticks videos. So she's melted all the drugstore lipsticks together, all the lipsticks she found in Sephora together, and what those experiments have found is that this colour is basically the sum of all lipsticks, and it is beautiful. Now, personally, this is the kind of colour that would be my go-to anyway, like this sort of raspberry berry pink. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's so in my wheelhouse. And this is the one I've been wearing every day since I got it. It was a Christmas present from me to me, and I am obsessed. It's also, just quickly, I want to show you this gorgeous, gorgeous tube. Can you see the bats? You cannot. I will do a proper cutaway. It's a really, really beautiful lipstick. I'm wearing it today. I have worn it every day since I got it. It is, apart from once when I wore another one in the collection, which I didn't like as much but did still like. That was Screamer. It's too dark for me. It's beautiful. It's really wearable. It's not what I would normally go for in terms of finish. It's not actually a matte, although it looks like a matte. It's a creme, so it actually doesn't last as well. However, lip coat tends to fix that, but it does fade down beautifully as well. It's really wearable. It's really nice. There is some transferring, but you get that with most non-matte lipsticks anyway, so I kind of expected that. The only thing I will say as well is that if you put this on dry lips, you get that clumping, horrible effect. Like, it looks beautiful on, and then when you go to reapply later, and you do need to reapply, you get like the balled up lipstick clumps. Can't explain it better than that, but it is a beautiful lipstick. I love it a lot, and I'm obsessed with this packaging. Okay, so for my final beauty favourite, I don't know why I'm chucking it backwards and forwards, is actually a fragrance. And it's rare for me to do a fragrance because I don't really wear perfume very much. But this is an oldie but a goodie, and it is the Flower Market scent from Replica. I love this perfume so much. I have done for years, and I kind of completely forgot I had it, and then I cleared out my beauty stash and found it and was like, oh my god, I never wear this, and I love it. I love it so much, and I used to wear it every day, and you can see how little I've used of it. Like, there's so much left, and it's a very beautiful, fresh, floral scent. It's just so lovely, and I wore this the other day at the doctor's, and my doctor said I smelled nice. So I mean, that's a very nice compliment, isn't it? She was a woman. It would have been weird if a man had said it. Yeah, big fan. Love this a lot. Would strongly recommend it if you can still get it, which I don't know if you can. I hope so, because I love it. That is it for the beauty favourites, but I have got a couple of non-beauty favourites I want to talk about as well. And the first one is the album Power by Twin Atlantic. You can't see, I don't know why I'm showing you my phone. Twin Atlantic is one of those bands that I love but rarely talk about. Like, I've loved them since the I think it's the Free album? Free, yeah. Their first album, Free. Loved them since then, and I kind of never talk about them because I am talking about Biffy or The Excerts or Frightened Rabbit. Isn't it weird that all of my favourite bands, bar Fleetwood Mac, are Scottish? Anyway, this came out earlier this month, and I have been listening to it religiously. I am absolutely obsessed with it. I think it is so good. And the standout tracks for me are Barcelona, which is the song I first heard and was like, oh my god, I love it. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to that, and on repeat for like days as well. I also like Novocaine and I Feel It Too. It's such a good album. I'm actually going to see them at the end of March, and I'm really excited because I haven't seen them before, but I love them and have loved them for a long time. And I never talk about them, but I listen to their music all the time. So I have 3 podcast recommendations from the last month, 2 of which I've been utterly obsessed with, and 1 I am just getting into, but it is really good. So the first one I want to talk about is Blood Ties. My mum actually recommended this to me, and Blood Ties is a Wondery podcast. So Wondery, if you don't know and are a true crime podcast nerd like myself, Wondery do the best ones. They just do such a deep dive into the story. They really get into like the nitty gritty of it. They're behind Dirty John, they're behind Dr. Death, and Blood Ties is a Wondery podcast, and it's amazing, but it's different in that it's not actually a true story, it's fictional. So it's about this very wealthy family in New York. The father is a very well-known doctor turned businessman, and it's about him, his wife and his 2 adult children, and they go to the Caribbean to spend Christmas together, and the parents allegedly die in a plane crash. And it's basically how the 2 children deal with the fallout of that, and one of them discovers a lot of untoward things, #MeToo, about her father, and it's really, really good. And it's got Josh Gad in it, who was Olaf in Frozen. I knew that going in, but my friend didn't, and he said he couldn't take it seriously after that. And also Gillian Jacobs, who was Britta in Community. It's so good, completely addictive. I've listened to the first series and have gone back and listened to some of the episodes again because they're really, really good. It's very well acted considering you only have the audio. And I'm rambling about Blood Ties. Listen to it, it's great. The second one is Dolly Parton's America, which again is so good. It's such a deep dive into what makes Dolly Parton the great unifier. So basically the premise of this is that Dolly Parton has a very, very good Q score. Now, I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well here, but I'll try. Q score is essentially how your brand or business or whatever is received by the world. And she is something like top 10 and Beyonce is like 42. And I don't know anyone who has anything negative to say about Beyonce, but anyway, it's so interesting. Now, I am a long time lover of Dolly Parton. I love her. She is joy personified, but I have absolutely adored this podcast. The things you find out is so fascinating. So they did like a really deep dive into the song Jolene, and there was arguments that it's actually a love song for Jolene, and they've interviewed Dolly, they've interviewed members of her family. It's just so interesting, so interesting. So I absolutely love that. And the third one, this is the one that I haven't binged as much but I have enjoyed, is Chasing Cosby, which is another Wondery podcast and is a look at the victims and crimes of Bill Cosby, who, if you don't know, is a comedian that is now in prison for a lot of sexual assault cases. It's really interesting. Horrible. It's really weird with true crime podcasts, I think, in that they are so fascinating but they're problematic as fuck. And hearing what these people have done is difficult, but it's interesting. But I get it, it's problematic. Okay, so I have, I think, 3 more favourites, maybe 2, but I'm going to be quite quick because I feel like this video is dragging. And I mean, I've been filming it, so I don't know how long it is yet, but I'm reckoning we're at the 20-minute mark now. Anyway, my next favourite is Sex Education Series 2. I absolutely adored the first series and I couldn't wait for the second series to come out, and I literally binged it in a weekend. And I don't binge TV, really. I don't have a binge watching mentality. Absolutely adored it, watched it very quickly. It is funny, it is very sweet, it's so relevant, and I just think it's amazing. I love it so much. Eric is my favourite character. Like, I just love him. I love Maeve as well. I'm obviously a Maeve kind of person, but it's really good. I loved it a lot. So good. And I think that brings me to, oh no, I've got 2. So my next favourite is a song by Dolly Parton. It is one I discovered by listening to Dolly Parton's America, the podcast, which I've already mentioned, and it is Light of a Clear Blue Morning. And I have listened to this a lot. There was a couple of weeks ago when I wasn't in a good place mentally, just having a bad day. So I went for a walk, I went to the lakes near where I live, and I listened to Dolly Parton's America, and they talked about this song, Light of a Clear Blue Morning, and I downloaded it and then couldn't stop listening to it. So I don't know about you, but personally for me, I use music as therapy, and it was just what I needed. It was just what I needed, hearing that song. And I have listened to it so many times and it's so joyful. And essentially it's about the fallout after Dolly left the Porter Wagner show, which really she got some good songs out of, because she wrote I Will Always Love You about that time as well. And it's how she left an abusive work situation and how she'd been fighting for so long, and now she could see the light of a clear blue morning. And it was just what I needed, and I love it. I love it so much. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. My final favourite is a book. Naturally, I always have a book favourite. I actually only read one book in January. It was this book, Riders by Jilly Cooper. And the reason I only read one book in January is because Riders is about 1,000 pages, and it's just about, you know, horses and shagging basically. And it was great. I loved it. You kind of have to come into it with an open mind in terms of how it stands up to 2020 standards. Not a lot of things do. Friends doesn't, not a lot of things do. And there's a lot of really bad stuff in it. But you have to remember this was written in the 70s. It is of its time. But it's a good story, a gripping story, even though there is homophobia in it, there is body shaming, and like there's this one character, Tori, who I absolutely adored. She is the nicest character in the book by a lot. And she was 5'7" and weighed 11 stone, and she is a very, very small woman, and she is referred to throughout as fat. Really fat. This pissed me off so much. Every time I read about Tori and it said something about her heaving her bulk, I was just like, she's not even fucking fat. It really pissed me off. Also, the character of Helen is the worst character I've ever come across in everything I've ever read. I have never hated a character as much as I hated Helen. I don't know why. She didn't even do anything wrong. She was just really pretentious and she kept crying, and I just hated her. And she's such a big part of the book, and I hated her so much. Now, I haven't read any Jilly Cooper before, and I really, really enjoyed it. But like I said, it doesn't hold up to 2020 standards at all, but it's still a good read. So I would recommend that. But also, be prepared to fucking hate Helen. I hated her so much. So those were all of my January favourites. Like I said earlier, I'm so glad we're in February. Oh my god, January lasted 12.5 years. It is the worst month. You could almost feel sorry for it if it wasn't such a dick. Like, the come down from Christmas was hard this year, guys. January sucks. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe and ring the bell. The holy trinity of things I would like you to do. And also comment below. Let me know what your favourites were. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.